Welcome to our February closeout video. Closing out your monthly budget is super important. Once you've built a plan for your monthly budget, it's really important to close it out so that you know how you did. You have to track your expenses all throughout the month and then close out your month. You want to find out one of three things. Was I right on? Did I exactly spend what I planned? Or did I overspend? Or did I underspend? If you were any of the latter two categories in the overspent or underspent, what are you going to do? If you overspent, how are you going to make up for that money? Do you have to pull from your emergency fund? Are you in debt now? Do you have to rebalance some of your categories? What is your plan for the following month? Do you need to do a sinking fund for the following year? So you have to think through all of those steps. If you underspent and you have money left over, you're not going to blow that money. You're going to go look at your extra income priorities list and you're going to apply that money accordingly. Perhaps you're still working on funding your emergency fund. Perhaps you have sinking funds to fill. Maybe you're trying to tackle some debt and pay off some debt. You can apply all of that underspent money, so you have money left over. You can apply that money to those priorities. So that is why it's so important to close out your budget and do so every single month.
Hi, I'm Megan with Bethel Budgets. I'm here because it's more than just math. At some point, you've probably built a budget. You've laid out your income, you've laid out your expenses, and thought it's simple math. I'll just stick to what's on the paper. But then life happened and your budget didn't work out. The reason? Because it's more than just math. That's where I come in. Let's figure this out together. Don't give up. You've got this.
Today, we're going to close out my February budget. I haven't really looked at this yet. I have some sort of idea of how I did because I track my expenses all the time. Every day I sit down and track my expenses in every dollar, which you can see in a second. They'll be on my screen, but I do all of that on every dollar every single day. So I have some sort of idea how I did in individual categories, but I need to look at the whole picture and see what I have left. Overall for the month, did I overspend or did I underspend? So we're going to tackle that together. On my screen, you can see that I have open my Google Sheet. That is my monthly budget. I am a pencil and paper kind of girl. I like to write everything down. And when I do my budget, I handwrite my budget. But for something like this, I do it on Google Sheets because there's a lot of math involved and it's just quicker than pulling out my calculator and doing it that way. I like to do this part on Google Sheets and that's totally fine. You can do that on paper if you want with your calculator. I like to use Google Sheets however you want to do it. Plus Google Sheets is formatted so that if I am overspent, it turns red. If I'm underspent, it turns green. If I'm right on, it stays black. So that is just a visual representation of how I've done as well. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you see my Google Sheet, and it's we'll be plugging in those numbers in the received category. Everything's already plugged in from the planned, and all of my due dates. We track our due dates in every document as we go, so we're never having to hunt those things down as we're figuring out our spending. And on the right side of my screen, you will see my Every Dollar. This is the app that we use for our budgeting. It's connected to my bank account and my credit card. And every transaction that we have goes into this Every Dollar. And then I can apply the transaction to the correct category. So it is connected to there's a free version that you can do where you're entering your own transactions. Highly recommend either version, the free version or the paid. The paid is connected to my bank account and my credit card. I do use a credit card. I do not believe in credit card debt, so we pay that off every single month religiously. When I start a new month with my zero-based monthly budget, I start my credit card with a zero balance so that I am accurately tracking my spending. If you carry a balance over, you're paying interest, you risk getting yourself into debt. And it's hard because those monthly credit card statements, they don't close out on the 31st of the month and start over on the 1st. They go into the month and it gets confusing and it puts you at risk of getting into debt. So if you're a credit card user, you're paying that off every single month. So we are going to take our numbers from the right side of the screen, where we have our numbers in every dollar, and we're going to plug them into this spreadsheet, and we're going to get an idea of how we did. So I'm going to start with the income. I'm going to plug in our income numbers, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so for this month, for our income, it looks like we're in much better shape than we were last month. Last month we had lower income than we expected, and this month, due to some we got our income that we expected, but then we also had some reimbursements that I had applied for from our insurance, from things. So like if you have out of network things that you're paying for all of my counseling and for a few other refunds and things that we got, I just a lot of that all just came in at the same time. So that is extra income for us, which that will help us a lot this month as we go through, and hopefully that will all get to be able to put into lump sum sinking fund savings, because we have just been slammed lately. I had to get a new phone. We have a bathroom remodel to do now. We have a microwave to replace, and now our dishwasher. This is a new thing. If you haven't been around, you might not have heard about our microwave or our dishwasher now needing to be replaced. We just keep getting slammed, and it's going to be okay, because we've been doing this a long time and we have sinking funds for everything, and we just have to, rebalance, redistribute some of these sinking funds probably. But this extra income, these reimbursements all hitting at the same time, will be a really big extra boost to getting us to where we need to be. So I'm very thankful for that. So that's our income. We're doing really good this month. Some of you may be in the same boat because your tax refund hit. Okay, we're moving on to giving. I'll plug that in and be right back. Okay, our giving was a little less than I intended it to be. I remember missing church this week because we were traveling. We were in Orlando, and my husband and I talked, and we were like, oh shoot, we got to make sure we do our tithe. And I think I thought he was going to do it because we talked about it, and he must have thought I was going to do it because I brought it up, and clearly neither of us did it. So we'll have to go make that up. I made a note about it right here, which it's fine now. It looks like it's a green number for us this month, but next month, then when we do pay for that, that's going to put us in the red for next month. So 'tis the world of budgeting. You do this to catch those mistakes, but then next month we'll have to make the adjustment. Savings, I planned $326. I'm not putting anything in this yet. I do it at the end of the month, so that I can see after we do this closeout how much I actually have at the end of the month left over to put into my lump sum sinking funds. So we'll find out at the end of this video how much I get to put in my lump sum sinking funds. And my hope is to begin doing a Transfer Tuesday type video where I'm taking things from my checking account and moving them to my savings account, moving them to my from my HSA to debt payoff, all of those types of things, all the transfers that I need to do. I want to make another video and show you how I go about all of that. So we'll see in just a few minutes how much I get to apply to my lump sum sinking funds. Housing, I'll put these numbers in, be right back. 0 for water, sewer, trash, because that's an every other month bill and I treat this like an envelope. I'll put 150 that we're just carrying over for the next month. Okay, food, I'll put these numbers in here and I'll be right back. A few notes about the food category. We overspent in our groceries again, which I'm kind of disappointed about. I worked really hard on our February challenge. I didn't use Instacart and I saved some money there. I think my grand total savings for the challenge was $160, which I'm proud of. And it was probably actually more. I figured out really early on how much I was spending and it was ridiculous. So it took the temptation to use Instacart out right away. So I didn't use it as much, and I wasn't tempted as much as I know I had been in the past, so I didn't track as much savings. I was using it at least once a week, maybe a few times a week, and I only was tempted 3 or 4 times, I think, last month, and that's what I tracked. But we still overspent. And I was hoping that that wouldn't be the case since I stopped using Instacart. However, we are a family of 6 and we only eat whole foods, really. We do some prepackaged stuff for the kids' lunches and things. But, with inflation, inflation is a hot topic right now. Perhaps I need to up this grocery budget. So it's time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to watch this for the next 3 months. Anytime I have a line item that I feel like we need to re-examine, I'm going to watch it for 3 months and I'm going to track it. And I'm going to keep an eagle eye watch on this and figure out what is happening. Do we need to start separating our home goods, like our toilet paper, paper towels, things like that? Do I need to start separating that out from that grocery budget and taking a closer look at that? Do I just need to up what we're spending? Are we going crazy with some things? What is happening with this grocery budget? So we're going to watch it for 3 months. We're going to watch it very carefully. And then we will have a budget meeting with my husband and we'll talk. And we'll talk about what's been happening, what's trending. Are we going to keep it at $1,200? Are we going to raise it? What are we going to raise it to? Do we need to lower our spending? Are there things that we need to cut out and stop buying? Those are conversations we're going to have over the next 3 months. And in 3 months, we'll make a decision. That's how we work those types of budgeting situations. Transportation, I know those numbers. Well, I know, oh, no. I know those numbers when I'm budgeting. Transportation. Okay. Transportation, we underspent in gas, which is awesome. However, we overspent on car wash, and that was, there was a whole story about that. If you watched my last budgeting video, I got into a situation where I had to get my car washed at a different place, and then I didn't have cash for the tip. So I already made a plan for my March budget to up that amount for the car wash so that I would have enough for a tip. And then my husband he went and got his car washed in the same month. We usually alternate every other month. So that's something that we need to talk about so that that doesn't happen again. Personal, overall, we overspent in this category. Shopping, some of that was me. My husband and I talked. I kind of splurged this month. Usually in February, I splurged. My husband's usually the spender and I'm usually the saver. And when we talked about how I had overspent in this category, some of that was me, not all of that. But anyway, when we talked about that, I had bought some nail polish. I needed a new nail polish. I wanted a new color. And he said, why didn't you just put that in your spending category? I didn't have one. I have never been a spender. I don't typically buy things for myself. And he found that horrible. And he wanted me to give myself a spending category. So for March, we added a spending category for me. Shopping is typically for things that we need from Target and Amazon, things that aren't groceries, but aren't necessarily household goods too. Our household goods mostly fall under the grocery category. But so that's kind of what happened there. And that's our plan to fix it for next month. Hair and cosmetics, that's not too bad for 5 haircuts plus hair products. And I got hair products this month too. I ran out, and March is my month. And we were so close. I almost made it to the end, but we were traveling at the end of February and I needed hair products and I ran out. So I had to buy on not my month's turn, but we only went over by 11. So, it's not perfect, but it's also close. I'm not going to beat myself up. It's a learning experience. We'll plan for next time. Birthdays, if you've watched my other videos, you heard me talk about it. We got slammed this month. These aren't birthdays for my kids. I have sinking funds for those. These are birthdays that we are invited to. So I have 4 kids. I think all of them got invited to a birthday party. We had a baby shower, a death of a family friend, and my sister's dog passed away. And so we gave gifts for those things, and birthdays could be called a gift category. But my husband and I talked, and we don't typically, neither one of us could remember the last time we overspent in this category. So we're going to leave it at $100 and just eat that $87 and find it, hopefully, from somewhere else in our budget as we're closing out. It's not something that we're going to raise that category for because we can't remember the last time we overspent. Moving on to lifestyle. This was a rough category. We overspent by $323 in this category. So our pet food went up by $10 a bag, and we weren't expecting that. We did some price shopping and tried to find a better price elsewhere, and we're still getting the best price we can. So we're gonna just have to up that category for next month. Entertainment, we did good because we canceled a subscription. Education, what happened there, and I made a plan for this already, is that it was re-enrollment time. And so we went through this process last year, but it was my first time ever doing this re-enrollment process. So I think I had forgotten that, you have to pay all these fees when you enroll your kids. And so I do have a sinking fund for that for next year, so it won't catch me off guard for next year, but that's what happened there. And then the unplanned category was some birthday expenses. I needed to put that in the unplanned category to trigger me to up my kids' birthday sinking funds. So we only do birthday parties on their big birthday years. So like 5, 10, 13, 16, 18 years like that. We don't do birthday parties every year, but I was taken by surprise with how expensive birthday parties have gotten. I was close, but I needed to up the sinking funds for those. And then also my husband's hair products, those went up by a lot. So I wanted to make a sinking fund. He buys like huge jugs of his hair products, and he buys them like once a year. But they went up by, it was like $25. So I don't think I had a sinking fund for that, so I needed to make one, which I've done already. So that's in my sinking funds list. Healthcare. Healthcare we saved a ton on because we didn't go to the doctor at all. And I moved halfway through the month. I started paying for supplements and things through my HSA instead of my regular budget. So we only spent $88 on supplements. Plus I stopped taking a bunch of them, found out that they had some allergens in them that were affecting me, that I had just been on them for so long, didn't think to read those labels. And then the gym, we saved 36 cents. Woohoo! That's still, every little bit helps. Moving on to debt. So the debt section, we did pretty good on. So the medical debt, we're moving over. I was planning on paying $325 off, but we're moving that over to our HSA now, which we've fully funded. So we are in the process of fully funding it every month out of my paycheck. So we're going to start paying that out of the HSA. So I'm not going to pay that out of here this month. It's coming out of HSA instead. So that's another $325 we're saving. So hopefully that'll offset some of these other categories that we overspent in. Moving on, I don't do insurance. That is all a sinking fund, and we pay that off every 6 months. So what else category? So the what else category, my husband got $50 in his spending money, and he spent $121.34. So we're going to have to talk about that. He was doing so good. I don't remember what happened. We did actually already talk about some of that. I think some of those things were things he just didn't think about. We'll talk about it. And childcare, those were over because we got a big snow. And so my oldest child shoveled the whole driveway, so we paid him $10. And then my younger middle did the walkway and porch and those kinds of things. So we paid him an extra $5. So that's, they get their income for when they turn 10, they get $10 a month plus a Chromebook, and they learn how to budget with mom, learn how to give, save, spend, and they have to save up for their emergency fund. But they can do pay chores, and this was a pay chore, shoveling the snow. So they got their pay chore. And then transfers, that's how I take care of what's going out of my lump sum sinking funds. So lump sum sinking funds is what's going in, transfers is what's coming out, and then it all balances out. That's just how I track it. So those transactions go into every dollar, and that's where I put them, is under transfers. And that's how I know to log those in my lump sum sinking funds tracking sheet. So let's scroll down and see how we did for the month. $698.35. Woohoo! That's a lot more to put into savings than I thought. Okay, so that's a lot more to put into savings than I thought. That is a much better number than last time. So when you're doing your monthly budget closeout, you're looking for, did I overspend? Did I underspend? Or was I right on budget? And if you overspent, you got to figure out, where's that money going to come from? Do I have to pull from my emergency fund? Am I in debt now? What plans am I making for next month or future months or next year to prevent that from happening again? And did I underspend so I have extra cash? And I'm not going to spend that willy-nilly. I'm going to go to my extra income priorities list and I'm going to apply it according to those priorities. So my top priority in my extra income priorities list right now is lump sum sinking funds. So that's going to get transferred over there, but I'm also going to have to sit and talk with my husband about, we've got the phone, the bathroom, the microwave, and the dishwasher to all take care of right now. So how are we going to apply this? What's top priority in those things? We've got to take a look at all of our sinking funds and kind of redistribute some things right now. So that is going to give us an awesome head start. I am really excited about that. Thank you for watching today. I hope that this helped you. I hope that you are closing out your monthly budget so you can get a good picture of what's going on with your budget, no matter what you do, how you did, whether you are right on budget, underspent, or overspent. Don't give up. Just keep going. You've got this.